Alright, so I just watched Creature Commandos. Episodes 1 and 2 have been released. It's available on Max now. This is going to be a non spoiler review, so you guys can keep watching. I wasn't that excited for this show. My expectations were fairly low, or, I kind of could predict how I would feel about this show. My history with James Gunn is really just I like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I love them, actually. The Suicide Squad, I thought it had its moments and was better in a lot of ways than the David Ayer one, but it still had its issues for me personally. I still think it did do something similar that Creature Commandos did, which was kind of showing some of James Gunn's perversions, and he does kind of sexualize women. And in Peacemaker 2, it was kind of the same situation. There were parts of it I liked, but I did find it offensive in more than one ways. I'm really not that crazed for Superman, although I've been trying to hold my reservations until I see a trailer, but I am keeping my expectations low. I've been getting the feeling lately that James Gunn really can only do teams, and kind of doing this weird bunch of characters where they don't get along at first, but they find a way to become a team and family in the end. I mean, he's good at it, but I feel like we've seen this before. And he uses a lot of the same traits that has worked for him in the past. When they visit like a new planet, they always like to wave to some like civilian child. Before I even watched the show, I was kind of thinking it was going to be a little too much like the Suicide Squad, and it did kind of end up feeling like a weird subplot of the Suicide Squad. Not that that's bad, but it just feels like too similar to what he already did recently. The cast is interesting. I've always been a fan of Maria Bakalova, who was in Borat 2. That's where she got her start, and then he used her in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and the Holiday Special as Cosmo, the dog. I did feel like he was kind of sexualizing her in this show the way he kind of sexualized Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad, aka Margot Robbie. Frank Grillo plays Rick Flag Sr., although I think we all know that Rick Flag Sr. is clearly based on how James Gunn looks, just more ripped. I just couldn't help but feel like I was just watching James Gunn's weird, perverted fantasy. Sean Gunn is in it, of course. He's always in his brother's films. He plays two characters, G.I. Robot, who I do think is pretty funny. I like that character, and Weasel, who he played as well in the previous Suicide Squad movie. Indira Varma plays the bride, who I do think is an interesting character, and I like seeing that story develop. It's certainly a creepy story and a stalkerish one, that's for sure. I do kind of want to find out what happens with that character. Zoe Chow is new to me. She plays Nina. David Harbour plays the creepy Frankenstein. And Alan Tudyk, I don't know how to pronounce his name, plays Dr. Phosphorus. It's a fun bunch. I think I'd be more interested in this show if it wasn't so graphic with its sexual content. Maybe if it was done tastefully, I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it is, and I'm not a fan of it. I'll still keep watching this show. I heard that the first two are the most explicit out of all of them, so I'm hoping I've gotten past the worst. But I'm still curious to see what happens with some of these storylines. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but I feel like it could have easily done without some of the stuff that they did in this show. The music is pretty interesting, but I feel like we always expect that with the James Gunn project these days. Animation looks good. It kind of just looks like any other DC animation I've seen before. Nothing that I've never, nothing that new. But the idea of kind of using the Universal monsters is a little bit fun. Again, like I said, I did like kind of what they did with Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein's story. It certainly has its ups and downs. It's not a perfect show. As the show goes on, I will do breakdowns of each episode and we'll do spoilers, but for these first two that premiered, I just wanted to do a spoiler-free one so that people can kind of see how my initial reaction was to the show and see if they want to watch it themselves. So stay tuned. I would love to hear what you guys thought of Creature Commandos, the first two episodes. Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys.